Whenever you watch a movie that proclaims itself to be based on a true story, it feels like a double-edged sword. You might be about to see something interesting, doesn't require the rigor of reading academic books, or you might be about to see a load of old rubbish. How I felt at the end of White Boy Rick was it's a well-acted film, but it felt emotionally false, like I was being lied to about who these people were. It just left me with a nasty taste in my mouth. So White Boy Rick is set in Detroit in the 1980s. The movie really captures the look of the period and a great sense of urban decay as well. The two main characters are Rick Wersch Sr., played by Matthew McConaughey, and Rick Wersch Jr., played by Richie Merritt, who brings this curious, emotionally flat aspect to the role. We meet them at a gun show where they cheat a gun owner out of his stock. And it's not a great start to feeling sympathy for the main characters. They do it cleverly, but if it's illegal to sell guns to a minor, why is the father bringing his son there in the first place? Matthew McConaughey as the father is one of the major problems of the movie for me. Back in the day, in Richard Linklater's Dazed and Confused, McConaughey played kind of a sleazy guy, but as he's become a Hollywood star, he's developed into a very different kind of actor, and here he's playing the same kind of character as he did in Interstellar, a reasonable, calm, empathetic man of action, and I really enjoy watching Matthew McConaughey. His casting here just doesn't work for me. Rick Wersch Sr. was a licensed gun seller, and we see the character in the movie illegally sell modified guns which are used in a crime wave across Detroit. The film mentions this in a very offhand way and doesn't bring it up again. We don't see McConaughey's character having any moral qualms about this. We don't see any consequences for him in any form. This is a pattern across the central characters. So the main character, White Boy Rick, gets a girl pregnant. There's a very minor conflict between the son and the father, which is resolved in about 2 minutes of screen time. We see the character of Boo, who is White Boy Rick's best friend, who we are told went to prison for no good reason. But a few scenes before that, we see him taking a very active part in the drug trade. So, which is true? He took an active part in the drug trade, or he never did anything wrong? It's like the film very much wants to have its cake and eat it. It wants to portray the criminality and get the entertainment out of that. It also wants to say that literally everyone is a victim. No one is responsible for anything they do. Rick Wersch Jr. was the youngest ever FBI informant, apparently. In the film, we see him recruited as an informant, working as an informant, and eventually being allowed to withdraw from that role. But then deciding with his father to get back into the game of selling narcotics. So the father and son are portrayed as deciding to get back into the illegal activity, but then we're told that it's absolutely awful that he's going to be charged for selling narcotics. You could argue that morally, there's a difference between doing it when you're an informer and doing it because you want to make money for yourself. The FBI characters in the movie point this out, and this happens in the last third of the movie, and it made me lose a lot of sympathy for the character. It kind of feels like play stupid games, win stupid prizes. The consequence of this is White Boy Rick Wersch Jr. spends 30 years in prison. He obviously didn't deserve that. This is further complicated by the fact that he was a child when all these events happen. I can see the quandary that the filmmakers were in. It's difficult to ascribe responsibility when the guy is a minor, but the film deals with that issue by making none of the characters responsible for anything they do. Being the Wikipedia warrior that I am, I had a check online, and it seems that incarceration wasn't the end of White Boy Rick's criminal career. And if the film had taken a bit more time to assign responsibility to the characters, it wouldn't have left such a bad taste in my mouth. It's just infused with this massive sense of victimhood instead of anyone admitting that they've done anything wrong. Because of this, I felt like I was being lied to more than I was being entertained. It felt like a fundamentally dishonest script. So this one, lots of things I liked, lots of interesting stuff, but ultimately, nah, it gave me the ick. Thanks for watching.